Today, on Be Something Wonderful, 48 hours of moving mountains by being you. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from a client that I had a session with a week and a half ago, and she just reached out quickly by an email just to say, oh my God, Tom, I'm moving mountains. Or she goes, as you say, the mountains have moved. And so she promises to share the detail in a session that we got scheduled next week. We're going to talk about some of these things. But here's what I want to talk about. When I talked with her a week and a half ago, she was just, what she felt, in her words, burnt out. She goes, Tom, I just don't know who I am anymore. I just feel like I feel like I'm living a delusion. The imaginal processes don't seem to be going anywhere. Nothing's moving in my life. And this was the sort of conversation. And so what we talked about is that it's not about, it's really about remembering who you are. I really want to hit this. Remembering really who you are. So when you're trying to do processes and when you're really putting in a lot of effort, you're forgetting that you are the process. That you are God in process. You are God creating. You are God evolving. And we forget that sometimes when we try harder to really try to make something happen. So what I told her is, I go, let everything you're doing go. And I said, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 things that I want you to try over a 48-hour period, but from an attitude of surrender, surrendering to that inner being, surrendering to that God within you. Surrender to the absolute knowing. Take it as a fundamental truth that God is expressing itself through you, that you are God in expression. Right? So I'll talk about these scenes. I've talked about these ways to imagine before, but I said, let go everything else you're doing. And let's talk about, and then sort of I went through the ideas of reminding her of who she is. And here I want to share that with you, and then I want to share what she was going to do for the next 48 hours. And what she wrote, it actually took around 72 hours. But she said, all hell broke loose in a really good way. So I'm really anxious to hear it, right? And part of it was that overwhelmment meditation that I'll talk about in a few minutes. So what I challenged her is, after we talked and after we got her repositioned as who she really is, we talked about the 48 hours of being really who she is. Stop fighting that divinity. Stop fighting that God within. Stop trying to prove something. Stop. You are God. You have nothing to prove. It's natural. You're a natural creator. And remember this from Scripture when Jesus is talking to his disciples and they say, who do people say that the Son of Man is? Right? Remember, the Son of Man is an expression of that Christ within you, or that I am. It's the expression of that I amness in the world, right? That was Jesus. And so Jesus is asking them. And then they're coming up with, well, maybe it's Elijah or one of the prophets or John the Baptist, right? But Jesus presses them on this. He says, well, but who do you say that I am? This is the question. The answer to that question creates your whole life experience. Really, right? And then Simon Peter answered, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. In other words, you are that I am awareness, that spiritual power that can take whatever form from that divinity, from that higher power. You're one with God. You're one with that unconditioned consciousness. And you can be, do, or have whatever your heart desires, right? Remember, the Son of Man is the Son of God in expression. That's who you are. The question then is, who do you think you are? You've heard people go, who do you think you are? I am the Son of God. I am the Christ, the Son of the living God. Try that one on, right? That's who you are, right? That answer determines your entire life experience. That's what we talked about, right? Got to really knowing who she is, right? And then it says here in John 14:12, he who believes in me, this is Jesus again, the works that I do, hear this promise, he will do also, and greater works than these he will do, because I go to the Father. I go to that unconditional awareness. I merge with that I amness, right? Wow, what a promise. What's Jesus saying here? Right? That remember, you are the Son of Man and the Son of God. But all that believing that you've got to try hard and put effort in and forgetting who you really are. Right? Remember, you are the process. You are God evolving through. God's evolving through you. God's expressing himself through you. Right? And remember, this is you, the allness of God, a Christ consciousness. Imagine that God or that presence is a sphere, a circle, right, without any borders. Right? But here, see this brown section? That's what you're seeing. That's manifested reality. But I want you to really get this. Within that arc of that circle, what you're seeing, that limitation that you're seeing, that 1%, is all of God. The allness of God is in everything that you are doing, that you're seeing, that you're thinking about, and that you're imagining. It's all God. Do you feel the power in this? Right? So when you're getting the real disconnect is believing that you've got to move from that arc to something else to feel God. But look, you are all God. You are all of it. All of it is within any aspect of it. Remember that the allness of God is within every part. It's that idea of a hologram. Right? The Spirit is within everything, right? You in your seen or manifested reality is a perfect divine whole, whether you can see it or not. Just because you can't see the whole doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You are that wholeness. And remember, there are no boundaries. That's why I put a dotted line. It goes off in every direction. It's infinite. And that's who you are. And you're in the center of all of it as an expression, as an individualized aspect of God, right? God godding, God expressing himself through you in everything, even the stuff that you think that you label unwanted or negative, it's still God. Once you can see that, that's that you're just focusing on that when it's this you want to focus on, the wholeness, right? You in your seen manifested reality is a perfect divine whole, whether you can see it or not. That's what we hit. All desire, hear this, is rooted in the divine desire, the divine urge to know God, right? In other words, to reunite, to unite with the whole and allness of who you are. Hear this. That urge is to reunite. Here you are. Here's what you're focused on. That urge, those desires, that is just to reunite with the wholeness of infinity, the wholeness of God, the wholeness of who you are. Wow, that's powerful. That's what that is. I am an expression of God's love. That's who you are. I am an expression of God's love. You're God in expression. The whole of God is present within you. Right? We're just not, when we're struggling and we're striving and we're trying, we're forgetting that we are love. All that we have to do is just love. When you love, then you're being God. Then you're creating, right? So be still and know. Be still and know I'm God really means be still and know I'm a complete and whole expression of God. Do you hear this? That's what that means, right? I and my Father are one. My Father is greater than I. Be still and know I'm a complete and whole expression of God, no matter what I'm seeing or not seeing in 3D reality, right? God is the divine creative process expressing itself within and through me, right? Wherever spirit is at all, the whole of spirit must be. This is the idea of unity, right? Spirit God is wholeness, is completion, is omnipresent. So the whole of God is present everywhere in all time and in all points in time and space. We've talked about this, but I want you to really know if that's true, if spirit is present in everywhere and is always complete in every part of it, that means spirit's within you is complete. That 3D reality you're looking at, those circumstances that you want are already complete and it's everywhere. So this is what we talked about in a nutshell. It was more, But that gives you an idea of the things that we were talking about. Then I said, for the next 48 hours, drop everything else you're doing and try this. Clean slate, carefree, light touch. Be fun about it. Frolic in creation, right? And the first thing I said, for everything that you want and every condition you see and everything that's happening in 3D reality, just say to yourself, I love it. No matter what it is, right? No matter how, even if it's something you don't even like, I love it. If it's a desire, say, I love it. Whatever it is, whatever the conditions, whatever you desire, simply say within, I love it. Or out loud, I love it. Feel it. That's, here, you're going to that divinity. Remember, you're that complete whole. So when you do this, you're invoking the love that you are in everything, right? Then two, try the wouldn't it be nice. We've talked about wouldn't it be nice. I think a couple spiritual teachers talk about this process. But wouldn't it be nice? And then something that you want. Something that you want in your life. Wouldn't it be nice if I had that house on the lake? Wouldn't it be nice if my significant other called me and brought me to a special dinner, whatever it is, right? Wouldn't it be nice that I get a sudden windfall of money? Wouldn't it be nice? Soft touch, be carefree and light about it. Have fun with it, right? We're trying to get the fun back into this, right? Then another thing you can do, turn all your desires into a past memory and thank God or that higher power, right? Turn all of them into a past memory. Remember, imaginal acts are just memories. They're just images, and memories are just images. Everything's a memory. Everything's an image. So turn all your desires into a past memory and thank God for having it, right? And then finally, try the good news meditation, right? This is what I've talked about. Get into an alpha state, a relaxed state, your eyes closed, 5 or 10 minutes. I talked about this, that I did this several months ago, around early April, right before the channel kind of blew up. I tried this meditation. And because I taught it, I think, the very next day. Alpha state, relax, eyes closed, 5 to 10 minutes. Imagine receiving good news from all directions. You're just breathing normally. You're in a very relaxed state, right? You're letting any thoughts or preoccupations just be there. And you're just imagine good news coming from every direction. It could be good news from work, good news from your loved ones, good news from strangers. You're just receiving good news. You're receiving free stuff. You're being surprised. Everything's delightful. That's the good news meditation. 48 hours of that. These things, that's all, without making it an effort. This is what we talked about. So I'm going to have my follow-up session with her next week. I think it's on Wednesday. And we'll give you some more news on this. But guys, try this. If you don't want to do all of them, pick one or two, or just pick one. Just giving you some ideas here. I'm going to find out what she actually decided to go with for those 48 hours. But let everything else that you've been trying to do go. Right? All that preoccupation. Get into that carefree state and try that. That's what we mean about by 48 hours of moving mountains, or 48 hours of walking on water. Right? 48 hours of being the Christ that you are, right? That God within you. That's what we're going here, guys. That's how really you move mountains. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can hit us up on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful. We have a group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. You can find us there at facebook.com/group/Be Something Wonderful. Also, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron. And as I announced yesterday, we now have a subscription option. So for those of you that said, hey, Tom, I wanted to see about maybe a monthly donation or something like that, now you have the option to join the channel. So it's not just a monthly donation. You're going to get content, video, specific exclusive content, exclusive videos, community posts, and I'm even going to do some live streams where we can do some question and answers. All that's planned. I should have the first big video either later today or tomorrow for sure on the channel, so you can check it out. And guys, if you don't worry about it. If you don't join the subscription channel, no worries, because I'm going to still be delivering amazing content here almost every day, like I have been. So we've got a lot more things to come with Be Something Wonderful. I just want to thank you all, guys, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude. This is Tom. See you soon.